Which is anything but timid.
Yeah, this is anything but boring. And this started with, well, a mix between the London system and Jabava London system. Magnus already debuted that one against Vukash earlier in the tournament. And this one is promising to be spicy. This is still one of the main lines of this whole system, but it gets exciting if Magnus ever throws a pawn forward against the Black King. The Black King is committed to the king side. White's king likely to go the other way, to the queen side. White has great central grip, so attacking is allowed here. But Wei Yi knows his theory.
He does, but he's a bit slow, right, on the Armageddon right now. It's Magnus to play, but Wei Yi with 6.5 minutes. He's got to keep that pace going. Bishop b5. Anytime black takes on e5, white recaptures with the pawn, winning that d5 central pawn, destabilizing the black knight on f6. Will Magnus take with the pawn? I'd be very tempted to do that.
Ah, and he does it.
Okay.
And do you now just grab d5?
He grabs the knight first. Just clarifying the position some more.
I think if you grab d5, black could have grabbed e5 in some variations, maybe. But yeah, Magnus, I don't know whether he's prepared or not, but it feels like he's trying to play positionally now. He's going to try and put a white knight on the d4 square as a blockader. He's facing the two bishops, but the black bishop on g7, the dark square bishop, not great. First Magnus castles. Wow, this is huge risk by Magnus Carlsen.
But I think he just doesn't want to trade queens. He wants to get that g4 idea in. Magnus wants to perhaps just try to at least create the attack in the middle game, get Wei Yi down on the clock before any trades happen.
This looks horrible for white, I've got to say. Rook to c8. I don't know, it feels like you're getting mated in some variations. Magnus looks like he's kind of widening his eyes, Wei Yi looks super calm, calculating.
Rook c8, b5, b4, rook takes c2. I mean, who's stopping these moves?
Yeah, rook takes c3, rook c8, just bring the other rook over. And Wei Yi does bring his rook across.
First rook on c8 to land. Wei Yi with ideas of exchange sacrifice, of ideas of advancing the b pawn. Queen takes pawn is a move you're talking about. It's on the board.
Blue arrow appears. Magnus now takes that queen.
Best move?
Wow.
Give up the exchange?
Best move. Rook takes knight. Wei Yi's about to play it.
He's going to do it.
He does it.
You cannot take that rook. If you take that rook, the black queen comes out to a4, and you're going to face checkmate, or you lose your bishop on the f4 square that's loose. Magnus is in such big trouble now. Grimace, double exclamation mark move.
And if you take the queen first, then black goes rook takes c2, check.
Exactly, and you've got this great discover check. So here it comes. The king slides over.
And now you can... What's the right square
Well, you
here?
can just lift up your rook to attack the bishop. Okay, he takes the pawn.
Queen takes bishop has to be played as Magnus Carlsen about to lose his second Armageddon game in a row.
Unthinkable. He's the king of Armageddon, Magnus Carlsen. He'd won a huge proportion of his Armageddons. Maybe we can get the exact number before this tournament. But he's a pawn down. He is in huge trouble, Magnus, but it is an endgame.
And he's got activity, right? That rook on the 7th rank. For now, black's bishop still stuck on g7, doesn't have an open diagonal so far. Magnus, he's fighting. Yes, the boss says Wei Yi is better.
Oh.
Wei Yi trying to double up on the 2nd rank.
Ooh, careful. Given a question mark, though. The computer here not liking it. I guess the b2 pawn will be defended once your rook lands on b7. He takes the other pawn first.
Will he go b6 to stop the idea of rook takes pawn, defending the b2 pawn, and only then come in with his own rook?
Well, there's also the thing that the bishop can also slide back to c1 to defend the b2 pawn. And if Magnus is able to lock this bishop on g7 out of the game with a well-timed f4, then it's still Magnus with some chances for the win. Remember, he is in a must-win situation.
Yeah, I think Wei Yi may be rushing that last move somewhat, but yeah, still over 3.5 minute deficit. The clock. Magnus, that's why he's so practical. He's so good at utilizing the clock in his favor normally, other than that Armageddon yesterday against Hikaru.
I feel this is already turning around now. You know, with the ability to defend that b2 pawn, with black's bishop still stuck on g7, Magnus suddenly perhaps even fighting for more than a draw. Like, he has to, right? Because it's a must-win for white.
Magnus is playing like the moves with such low energy, like the hand gestures. It's like almost reluctant, so casual, but his last few moves have been great. The shock of meeting rook takes knight there, rook takes c3, and still recovering to get this position is already a step in the right direction for Magnus. But the rook attacks the bishop, which retreats now. As Jovanka pointed out, great move there by Magnus.
The way he needs to rush up, right? He makes one move, then again thinks for another 10 seconds. This is Armageddon. If you take 30 seconds to a minute on a move, you better be blitzing out the next 3 moves.
Blitz territory, 3 minutes now, still ages before he gets the increment, still 20 moves until he gets the 1 second increment.
And we've seen it in over-the-board chess. 1 second increment is barely enough to even get a move in.
Yeah, unless they're obvious checks or easy moves near the clock, it's still a race against time.
Yeah, you never gain time on the clock. You're basically playing on just that 1 second. And Magnus, cool, calm, collected, despite that early shocker of a move. While Wei Yi, he just keeps losing. On the clock, b5 played. Can Magnus just continue getting hungry? If you grab a7, you really don't want to activate that black bishop, right? You don't want to allow bishop take pawn.
I love Jovanka's move from earlier. Pawn to f4, lock it away.
Strong.
And also releases the white rook to move from the corner now that the h4 pawn will not be hanging to the black rook on the 4th rank. Magnus pausing, though. I wonder what Wei Yi has in store there.
And one of the things about Magnus's position is if he manages to get some kind of a fortress going on, is that he can just keep on making moves.
Yes.
And just simply force Wei Yi to burn that time on the clock.
He has to pace up. Where he has to start not only blitzing, I would say bulleting out his moves. I mean, he's 2.5 minutes. Magnus gets the second rook into the game and into the attack.
Why did Magnus not play f4? A mystery. That looks so natural, so strong, and no obvious moves for Wei Yi, but now it's going to be a king chase. Magnus taking a pawn. Oh, the bar drops, though. Wei Yi's creating big play.
Rook g1 coming in next, and notice how the rook on the g file is not only attacking the bishop on c1, but defending his own bishop on g7.
The h-pawn is so quick. We saw an h-pawn promotion in the Caruana game. Maybe this will decide this game as well. Magnus leaning back as if he's missed something.
And the problem is you can't go e6 because of rook takes b2. Oh my goodness. Magnus doesn't have the e-passer at play here.
Okay, and the black king can also escape these pins by going king to g6 at the right time. And if you're able to activate the bishop, well, you're in big trouble, right?
Like,
it's Magnus.
How he didn't play f4, that is bizarre. Like f4, you lock it away and it still becomes maneuvering. Wei Yi has no time. Here, it's concrete. Like, Wei Yi's moves are forced. It's like you've just forced your opponent to play good moves. Magnus just, I know him quite well. Like, body language, he just looks low on energy.
Oh my goodness.
Takes
Is there a knockout move?
Why can you not double up?
Rook c8 looks like the only response to that.
And then you can bishop h6.
Oh,
he doesn't. Ooh. He plays king to g6. Okay, this is nice. Move. Bishop h6 on the agenda.
The rook is trapped. This rook is trapped. It only has the f4 square when it's going to walk into something on the long diagonal. Rook g1, take on c1, bishop h6 at the end. Magnus is about to lose this game.
This is completely over. And Magnus slows down, but it's too late.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And that's it, rook f4. Now the idea of going for tactics, and you saw it on his face. He can't believe what he's done.
Yeah. And Wei Yi just clinical there, lining up both rooks. The target is the bishop on c1. And all he has to do is simply capture that bishop. Okay, Magnus throwing in some checks, but in the end, it's not quite good enough. His bishop is going to fall off. And Magnus now is in, remember, he's in a must-win situation.
He's a full bishop down. The black bishop is alive, can grab a pawn in the center. Where he does that, forking the two rooks. One can give a check, but whole bishop down against a world-class player like Wei Yi. 2 minutes on the clock is more than enough here for black. Checkmate threatened in the next move. White king has to run. Oh, Wei Yi closes the cage again. Magnus Carlsen resigns. Second Armageddon loss in a row for the world #1.
What a win for the Chinese Grandmaster as he gets his first at Norway Chess, and it's against none other than Magnus Carlsen, and heartbreak for Magnus twice in a row.
Yeah.